Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This one's going to be a little different as I want to cover something about rates. And I've dabbled into this ever since I got into Left 4 Dead. Been playing it for years with nothing to show for it, but in the years that I have been playing, I've noticed a lot of players have different opinions on what settings you should be using, in particular the rates. So I'm gonna provide some of the links below from all the information that I have gathered, and in hopes that you guys can try this out. I highly encourage you to read these as they're very informative and really interesting actually. So the first one I have here is a developer community from Valve. Basically has a summary of how the Source multiplayer networking works, so it's a really good read if you want to get like an overall information on that. And the second one I have here is how to make an autoexec file. Although this says CSGO, it really works with any of the Source games, but shout out to Kyoko for this guide. You can definitely check that out and make one yourselves, because it is helpful. It does automatically execute all the rates, so you don't have to constantly type it on the console. The next guide I have that I want to credit Wally 3X, although it was a different person that published this, both KO112 and Nafrayu. And this is a really good explanation on basically the rates, frames per second, the choke, all that you need to know really about how these settings work. The next one I have is Kaizen's explanation of what is choke, and this actually really helped me out learning a lot about the frames per second max setting, and that's how I learned about how to set that up and basically match it to the tick server or rate server. And then next we have my favorite explanation. So shout out to QNX. This was an incredible, very simple to read explanation on the settings that are, it's basically what I use and what I recommend, and I recommend you guys try it out. And it's really interesting the way the wordplay around there. Like it's I really like it, and thanks to this I basically finally can put it to rest, and it's been working out so far. And last but not least, Party Sims and FX for providing this hidden console variable guide, which it actually lets me set up the frames per second max, which the default value was 300, and I now can modify that, so that really helped me out a lot in what I basically concluded. So with all these guides, I learned that this is basically my main setting. You basically would keep these all exactly as it is for the whole entirety of the game, but the ones that are very important, at least for me, was I've noticed that the majority of the games are either 30 tick or 100 tick for the competitive servers. And with the 30 tick, I've noticed that in the net graph it showed that the server refresh rate was at 29 or almost 30 maximum. So I figured, why not try to put the max out my frames per second to 30. You'll notice here that it says 31 because it's -1. You'll see it in the net graph, it'll show as 30 instead. The rate, it is capped at 30,000, I believe. It's hard coded in there, so I just kept it that way. And then the CL, CMD rate, and CL update rate, it kept that at 30, and that's basically it. This is what I use for a regular Valve server. And then I basically replicate the same thing at 100 tick, and this has been working just fine because I've always tinkered around with it and it never felt quite the same, but this has been exactly what helped me out. So I highly encourage you guys to read this, and yeah, I hope it helps. Catch you on the next one.